potato.
This afternoon, restrictions relaxed, how South Australians will be able to dine in from Friday. A woman charged after allegedly spitting on a nurse as she walked to work. Lightning strike, a Barossa Valley family loses everything in a house fire. Another big retailer set to reopen its doors as the market's hit by a massive slump. And the controversial drug Donald Trump's taking to be trialled in Australia.
Live from Adelaide, 7 News with Rosanna Mangiarelli.
Good afternoon. South Australians will be able to dine in from Friday with cafe and restaurant COVID restrictions relaxed, and pubs will open just in time for the June long weekend. Mike Smithson has more.
2 months of pain and for some agony is about to change significantly, but still not everyone's happy. From this Friday, all cafes and restaurants can open for 20 people.
It will be 10 indoors, 10 outdoors, including alcohol service for all cafes and restaurants.
Return to much more normal service, being table service rather than takeaways predominantly.
East End Cellars is up for it. As we arrived today, staff members were being briefed. There'll only be a fraction of the usual patronage, and you'll require a healthy credit card.
Food and wine are $150 a person to make it worthwhile. That'll pay for the kitchen, pay for clearing the plates, pay for the food, of course, and the booze.
7 News revealed the other significant development last night. The upcoming long weekend's now open for pub trade. Step 2, which also includes cinemas, theatres, gyms and the like, has been brought forward by 3 days to cash in on the holiday vibe.
It did make sense that there is a long weekend to take the opportunity to open 3 days earlier.
But it's still work in progress. Larger hotels want the proposed 20 maximum increased to 50 patrons spread around the venue.
The smaller the number, the less likely the bigger ones can open. And that's the problem with one size fits all.
It's been a long road, but don't expect state border restrictions to follow the same journey. The Premier's standing firm.
That's still a long way off, but as we've already seen, it's an ever-changing landscape.
Police have slammed as abhorrent a daylight attack on a nurse who was spat on as she walked to work along Hindley Street. Witnesses say they heard her screams as she was targeted by another woman in an unprovoked assault. Andrea Nicholas has the details.
Authorities say this sickening attack on a nurse heading to work should never have happened, but especially during a pandemic. Wearing her nursing scrubs, the victim was walking along Hindley Street towards King William at 7:30 yesterday morning when she was targeted. Police allege 42-year-old Charlotte Newton spat her drink on her.
This is an absolute disgraceful act. We are absolutely appalled.
Nearby workers heard the drama unfolding.
It was just screaming and like someone trying to fight with someone else.
Both my mum and my sister are nurses, so really hits close to home.
A short time later, police arrested Newton on nearby Bank Street. She's also accused of spitting at an officer.
We are resolute in taking action against any incidents where emergency services workers, including health workers, are assaulted in this way.
Especially on this time of the year, let's say, the nurses are helping us with the virus and everything, so it's horrible.
Penalties for assaulting emergency workers were beefed up last year when it became a specific crime. The basic offence can land an offender up to 5 years behind bars. They could face 15 years for intentionally causing harm. Newton didn't apply for bail and will face court again next month. The union says her penalty needs to be tough enough to deter others from lashing out at healthcare workers.
A Barossa Valley farming family has lost their home in a blaze caused by a lightning strike. As Peter Caldecott reports, precious wedding photos and a treasured cutlery set were all that could be salvaged from the ruins.
The devastated Grossman family believes it was just a freak of nature that destroyed their Flaxman Valley home last night. Lachlan and his mother were cooking dinner when all of a sudden a bolt of lightning hit the roof.
Scary when it hit, a loud bang when it hit down low.
I got a phone call at the time from my wife to say that there'd just been a heavy clap of thunder over the house. and a real loud bang with it at the same time.
Firefighters arrived to find the stone house engulfed in flames with its roof caving in.
Extremely dangerous. The temperatures in there would have exceeded 800 degrees.
I had an orphan lamb at the back of the house. I quickly grabbed that to get that away from the smoke, but there was little else I could do.
2 Kelpie dogs were also saved, but Sammy the cat is still missing. The 50-year-old home has been gutted, but fortunately is insured. Incredibly, Mark found a treasured cutlery set and his wedding photos among the ashes.
Well, I rang her and told her that I found this here, so that would have been a relief.
And proof lightning does strike in the same place twice. Mark says his house has been hit before.
About 30 years ago, I went through 3 answering machines in severe thunder weather too at the same time.
Damage to the home has been estimated at $250,000.
A northern suburbs man has been charged over yesterday's fatal smash at Paringa in the Riverland. The 20-year-old was behind the wheel of a Toyota Yaris which rolled on the Sturt Highway, killing a 24-year-old male passenger. The driver from Davram Park was charged with causing death by dangerous driving. He and a second passenger escaped with minor injuries. Police were led on a dangerous pursuit in the northern suburbs that allegedly involved a car being driven without lights and on the wrong side of the road. But as Casey Trelaw reports, the driver and his passenger claim they were unfairly targeted.
The police chase came to a dramatic halt here on Main North Road just after 3:30 this morning.
Security vision captured the small Ford Laser speeding through the northern suburbs, with 6 patrol cars hot on its heels.
I was in my car for like not even 10 seconds down the road and they started chasing us for no reason.
Aaron Sinclair was behind the wheel with his partner Jasmine in the passenger seat. After he failed to pull over, the pursuit began.
No, because I was too scared. I didn't know what they were going to do to me.
Police lost sight of the car at Blakeview. Moments later, it was spotted again on Main North Road. Road spikes were placed along Yorktown Road, but despite punctured tyres, Aaron kept driving.
There was a potential there to harm somebody or something, or run over a child or whatever.
Police eventually brought the vehicle to a stop at Elizabeth North.
I jumped out willingly to lay it on the ground for them, and they just handcuffed me like real hard.
Aaron was unlicensed and the car unregistered. Meanwhile, his partner was reported for carrying an offensive weapon.
It was my baseball bat, which I use for protection because of my mental health.
Aaron's been charged with a raft of offences and will face the Elizabeth Magistrates Court next month.
Washington's chief diplomat in Australia has heaped praise on the Morrison government for its role in setting up a global coronavirus inquiry. His comments come as the government's stance irks China. There are now signs it may take further trade action. Tim Lester has more from Canberra.
If it were possible to write a statement the perfect opposite of the one China's embassy released here yesterday, then the US embassy here has released it today. China's ambassador called Australian claims to have been the driving force in a global coronavirus inquiry a joke. Well, US Ambassador Culverhouse commends Australia's leadership in achieving an investigation. When Australia speaks, he says, the world listens. Canberra, right now in the crossfire between our big trade partner China and big security partner the US. The inquiry the World Health Assembly has agreed on stems from a European motion, but the Morrison government is happy for the Prime Minister's lobbying role to be played up.
He set out the principles, we followed those principles, and we really welcome what the world has done.
This is a new report from the Bloomberg News Service suggests China might increase its trade action against Australia. It claims Chinese officials have a hit list of Australian food exports they might move to disrupt or block. They include wine, dairy, seafood and fruit.
We would be disappointed if there was any process of conflating these issues. We deal with the trade issues on their merits as they stand.
Strong demand and exports have held up well, and we've seen forward orders and increased interest in Australian wine at the moment. So that's holding up really well.
Already, China has crippled Australian barley exports with a new tariff and shut down beef purchases from 4 Australian processing plants.
In another sign, life is slowly starting to return to normal. A big retailer will be opening its doors later this week. Let's go live to Elise Baker at Westfield Marion, and Elise, Myer is ready to welcome back customers.
That's right, Rosanna. This Myer is one of a further 9 outlets around the country that will do so this Friday. There'll be increased cleaning, hand sanitiser stations in store, and staff will monitor the number of customers allowed inside. But some services won't be back on offer, including beauty appointments, bra, suit and shoe fittings. The decision comes as Australian retailers suffer their biggest ever slump. April figures plunged by 17.9%, a staggering loss of $5.4 billion. However, online sales grew by 10%. In more good news, Witchery has confirmed it's opening all stores tomorrow, with Trenery and Country Road indicating on social media they'll be open on Friday. Retailers are certainly hoping customers have the confidence to come back and shop at their bricks and mortar stores. Rosanna.
Thank you, Elise. Worldwide attentions on the Gold Coast and its controversial shark nets after a man in a tinny saved a tangled humpback whale calf. Supporters from around the world have donated to his cause after authorities confirmed he could still be fined. Amelia Adam explains.
The incredible footage of a Currumbin diver who saved a baby whale off the coast of Burleigh has now been seen around the globe. The mare, known as Django, saw the calf in trouble yesterday morning. It had taken authorities more than 2 hours to respond. Before they could arrive, the experienced diver was able to free the whale.
Eventually, I just got him enough sort of out of the rope so he could just break free.
Now attention has been turned to saving Django's hip pocket from a potential fine. Dale Harris started a GoFundMe.
We've had one donation of $500 and I think our average donations are now sleeping up to $100 to $200.
Lawyers say he could face fines of more than $20,000, but he has grounds for a defence.
Where you see an animal in distress and flailing and possibly drowning, one might argue that that was a reasonable excuse.
It's also reignited the debate about shark nets.
Yeah, they're a waste of time. I've dived my whole life and sharks will just swim around them.
Researchers believe there are better ways to keep the sharks at bay.
I would suggest science and research, which means that we're actually tracking the sharks.
We used to live in Western Australia where it was quite bad with great whites, so I was really relieved when we moved here and there was shark nets.
Experts estimate 5 to 10 whales are caught up in the shark nets along the Queensland coast each year.
Wild weather has left a trail of destruction in Victoria. The severe storm ripped roofs off homes, smashed down fences and launched wheelie bins into the air. The hail and gusty winds swept right across the state just after midnight. Geelong was one of the hardest hit areas. Stay with us. Still to come on 7's Afternoon News, the owners of a Carricalinga holiday home still waiting to see what they can salvage. Turning nasty, a war of words breaks out between the US President and the Speaker of the House. Grim scenes as Brazil admits it's losing the battle against coronavirus. No time to rest inside Wuhan's mission to test 11 million people, and a special guest appearance. The Obamas come together to teach kids to read.
There's a story here we don't know yet.
7 Flicks brings together the most brilliant minds.
The clock's ticking. Let's get out there.
Each with a very unique way.
What do you know? All sorts of things.
Of cracking cases.
You're not going to want to miss this.
The world's greatest crime dramas. Wednesday and Thursday on 7 Flicks.
Ladies, what's the first thing you take off when you get home? Your bra. Underwire digs, ouch, and back fat from bra straps is embarrassing. Introducing Ceramia, a bra so supporting and flattering, yet so comfortable, you won't even know you're wearing a bra. Look and feel Ceramia good from the front, the back, the sides, even the straps. The secret is Ceramia's double conforming lifting straps. The lace strap is a lifting wrap, just criss and cross, to be cradled in comfort and youthfully lifted. Ceramia comes with adjustable support straps, so you get double the support, double the comfort and double the smoothness, all without underwire. Ceramia gives you 360 degrees of soft, breathable fabric, designed with front and back cooling mesh ventilation, so hot air flows out and fresh air flows in.
I'm literally obsessed with this bra. It is super functional and super comfortable. Feels like I'm wearing nothing. I mean, look at it. Love it.
That's a bra that your body is supposed to fit. This is a bra that fits perfectly to your body. Ceramia fits all shapes and supports all sizes. A bra so supporting and flattering, yet so comfortable, you won't even know you're wearing a bra. So no more cutting straps, no more poking underwire, and no more unsightly back fat. Call Global Shop Direct or go online to order Ceramia in your choice of black, white or nude for the low price on your screen. Want even more value? Upgrade your order and save with our Value 3-pack. You'll get one black, one white and one nude bra and save an amazing $70. If Ceramia isn't the most comfortable, soft bra you've ever worn, just send it back within 30 days for a full refund of the product price. Finally, a bra that fits perfectly to your body. Order Ceramia today.
Fibre helps feed the good bacteria in your gut. That's why with Kellogg's range of fibre cereals, millions of Aussies are helping the good bacteria in their gut to thrive. Is your gut fibre fit?
She loves cats, so tonight I'll borrow my neighbor's. My babies.
Temptations cat treats.
Roof Seal are giving you more bang for your buck with the Super Seal sale. Get your roof restored and pay $1 per ridge cap repair, $1 per tile change, $1 per whirlybird, $1 per standard downpipe, $1 per gutter guard. Or get an electric roller shutter installed and pay $1 per roller shutter installation and $1 per roller shutter remote control. It's our Super Seal sale and we're giving you more bang for your buck.
1-300-36-7070. Roof.
This winter, heat your home with SA's #1 Daikin dealer and save up to $1,000. Daikin technology makes heating your home efficient, and right now you can save up to $1,000 on any Daikin ducted system. Heat your home with climate and save.
The heartbroken owners of a holiday home destroyed by a runaway truck at Karakalinga yesterday are still waiting to see what they can salvage from the wreck. The truck was meant to be removed today, but insurance issues meant the towing company refused to do the job. The driver's been discharged from hospital, but his passengers still being treated. No charges have been laid. US President Donald Trump has traded insults with one of his biggest political rivals after she labelled him morbidly obese. Amelia Brace reports.
Well, Donald Trump has defended his decision to take hydroxychloroquine, saying that he feels it gives him an extra level of safety. The president rejected warnings from doctors that the anti-malaria drug has serious side effects, including heart complications and even sudden death. He says people are only criticising the medication because he's taking it, and that if anybody else was, it would be considered a smart move.
The only bad survey, they were giving it to people that were in very bad shape. They were very old, almost dead. It was a Trump enemy statement.
But even Donald Trump's political adversaries have raised concerns. Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, saying he shouldn't be taking any risks in his condition.
He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved by the scientists, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say.
These people are sick. Pelosi is a sick woman. She's got a lot of problems, a lot of mental problems.
Of course, as yet, there are no proven treatments for coronavirus, and the president and the American people are growing more anxious to find something, with the death toll here in the US tipping over 91,000 people today, with 1.5 million cases.
And there are grim scenes out of Brazil showing new graves being dug in a giant cemetery as that country's officials admit it's losing the battle against COVID-19. Brazil now sits behind the United States and Russia in the number of confirmed cases. The daily increase of infections and death mirrors the US. China's attempt to test all 11 million residents of Wuhan for coronavirus is well underway. Health authorities have given themselves 10 days to complete the task, trying to get ahead of further outbreaks. A special liaison group's completing testing and carrying out workplace inspections. And Michelle Obama's online Storytime series welcomed a special guest this week. Her husband, the 44th president, joined a read-along of The Bear Ate Your Sandwich.
Waited to make sure no one saw him. Not even the sandwich. Before he made his move.
The former First Lady started the project last month to help kids practice reading and give their parents a break. Great stuff, isn't it? Let's check in with Nikki now on what's coming up in sport, Nikki.
Well, Rosanna, momentum is building for a showdown to restart the season for the Crows and Port Adelaide right here in Adelaide. Training will be back to normal by Monday next week for both of our AFL teams, meaning they won't be forced to fly out to the Gold Coast anywhere near as early as first thought. And we check in with Olympian and Lightning star Steph Talbot, who should have been preparing for her WNBA debut this week. And the National Women's Basketball League will also be looking a little different this upcoming season. I'll see you in sport, Rosanna.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Nikki. Also ahead on 7's afternoon news, an earthquake rocks China, leaving 4 dead and dozens injured. How the coronavirus is impacting on the finances of the royal household. A MasterChef star denies sexual assault allegations. The bold plan to save the housing market, giving new home buyers a boost. And later, an Australian trial to test Donald Trump's controversial coronavirus drug.
The office, a thing of the past. Working from home, the new norm, the pros, the cons, and your rights on Sunrise tomorrow.
A great pioneer of modern nursing once said, "The greatest heroes are those who do their duty in the daily grind of domestic affairs whilst the world whirls." In 2020, the year of the nurse and midwife, 200 years after Florence Nightingale's birth, we say thank you to the nurses, midwives and personal care workers who, in the face of both tragedy and joy, share their care and skills every day of every year. You are our real heroes.
Jim's Plumbing can be there within 1 hour of your call with $0 deposit interest-free. The same great rates 24/7 mean you pay no more after hours. Jim's Plumbing is your choice for everything plumbing and gas.
Dad!
Oh, sorry. It's funny.
Dad!
Yeah. Party purpose.
Shh. Bring your family together. Introducing Optus Family Plan with 4 SIMs and 250 gigs of data to share.
Great foodness in Foodland. The mighty South Aussies, yeah.
Roof Seal are giving you more bang for your buck with the Super Seal sale. Pay $1 per whirlybird, tile change, ridge cap repair, standard downpipe or gutter guard.
1336 7070. Roof.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Be the first to know when news breaks with the news.com.au app. News delivered to you free, when you want it and how you want it. Stay up to date and download the free news.com.au app now.
It makes sense to shop at Macleay's bulk store. Your parents, in fact, your grandparents probably did. For generations, Macleay's have been famous for huge discounts. Carpet up to 60% off, rolls and remnants, a bit like me. Vinyl flooring less than half price, full and part rolls. Floating floors with exciting new colours. The famous Macleay's bulk store. The place hasn't changed in 30 years, but it's not hard to find and the prices make it worthwhile. Coghlan Street, Brompton.
4 people are dead and dozens have been left injured after an earthquake in southwestern China. Houses collapsed and walls cracked as the magnitude 5 tremor shook the province. Locals say they lasted several seconds. Rescue and relief teams have been sent to the quake zone. The Queen's expected to lose $34 million this year as royal palaces and castles remain closed because of the pandemic. Her staff members have been told to expect a pay freeze and job cuts. Europe correspondent Sarah Greenhalgh has more.
Well, the whole country is being hit hard financially and the royal household, it seems, is no exception. The head of the household has written to his staff warning about his concerns regarding the pandemic and of a potential shortfall of almost $34 million. That missing income is due to the missing tourists, with Buckingham Palace, Clarence House and Windsor Castle all still closed, and they will remain shut over the British summer. In addition to that, the Queen's diary has essentially been torn up for the next 2 years, with all official royal engagements now under review. Meanwhile, the UK's Chancellor is warning of economic scarring. He says the country is facing the worst recession in 300 years. Some pretty grim numbers, but the ones the British public are most concerned about is the death toll. It currently officially stands at almost 35,500, but according to new data released from the Office of National Statistics, the excess deaths during the pandemic compared to this same time last year is closer to 55,000.
Michael Ibrahim, the brother of Sydney identity John Ibrahim, will spend up to 30 years behind bars. He's admitted planning to bring MDMA, ice, cocaine and cigarettes into Australia, potentially netting tens of millions of dollars. Leonie Ryan was in court.
Good afternoon. Well, Michael Ibrahim is currently 42 years old, but will be 60 when he's first eligible for parole for his part in this importation ring. The drug and tobacco ring was operating between Sydney and Dubai and the Netherlands.
He purportedly stood to gain a substantial quantity of the drugs. The negotiated profit is not meaningless in this case because it is a further indication of the offender's standing in this hierarchy.
Those drugs included 1.8 tonnes of MDMA, 136 kilos of cocaine and 15 kilos of ice, worth more than $800 million. The drugs never reached our shores, but Ibrahim and his co-offenders had the intention of receiving them and selling them on, potentially making them tens of millions of dollars.
He was a trusted and willing participant who engaged in the criminality, expecting significant financial gain.
Members of the group were arrested during simultaneous raids across Sydney and Dubai in 2017. It meant a short stint at freedom for Ibrahim. He'd spent the past 14 out of 18 years in and out of jail, including serving time for manslaughter. Now, Michael Ibrahim was sentenced to a maximum of 30 years behind bars, a non-parole period of 18, the judge conceding he's unlikely to see his mother on the outside ever again.
A MasterChef star has denied allegations he sexually assaulted a teenage girl in Melbourne. Ben Ungerman mysteriously left the show without explanation, but it's since been revealed he's facing charges over the alleged attack in February. His lawyer says the 33-year-old will defend the charges when he faces court next month. There are calls for a big cash injection to help new home buyers and for stamp duty to be axed in the hope of boosting the country's ailing housing market. As Brian Seymour reports, there's also a dire new forecast in the wake of the pandemic.
Yes, the Property Council of Australia has come up with a bold 7-point plan to arrest the sudden and alarming decline in new home building in Australia, which has already claimed 100,000 jobs and is tipped to claim up to 500,000 jobs by the end of the year. Already new home sales have fallen 23% since the lockdown began, and the Housing Industry Association says there could be a further fall of up to half of all projects by the end of the year. Under the Property Council's plan, anyone buying a new home would get a $50,000 cheque from the federal government. They're also calling for the immediate abolition of stamp duty and for that revenue to be made up by widening the GST to include things like fresh food, health and education.
900,000 people work in construction directly. This is a very big part of the economy.
If this sector winds down, that's bad for everybody.
They're also calling for a 12-month campaign to welcome to Australia new migrants to drive growth. Nearly a third of all current projects have already been counselled, with builders saying they welcome any move to bolster the ailing industry.
Many of the projects have been approved, ready to start. Some of them have had issues with the bank getting their approval to start construction. Others have lost their jobs.
The Federal Housing Minister says their JobKeeper program and wage subsidies are helping to keep home builders afloat. They will monitor the industry and consider any further action.
A new report has found the resilience of Australia's phone and internet services has been tested in 2020. Complaints to the industry ombudsman about not having a working phone or internet have increased almost 70% on the last quarter. The big jump coincides with extreme weather events, including the catastrophic bushfire season. And still to come on 7's Afternoon News, we'll cross live to ComSec for your midweek money. Also coming up, Australia to trial a controversial drug touted by Donald Trump. And a new honour for Britain's fundraising hero, Captain Tom Moore.
For your official local source of COVID-19 information and the range of support services available, go to sa.gov.au.
He's visiting, but now he's found a reason to stay.
Beautiful day.
Yeah, that's Summer Bay for you. Do you always flirt with your brother's dates?
You want me?
Oh, yeah, more than you'll ever know. But let's be honest, you'll never know.
Tane's using you to get back at me. This was a competition I've already won. I'll leave you alone. Just say the word.
Home and Away, this week at 7 on 7.
The gold price has never been higher. It's time to sell your unwanted jewellery and gold. Adelaide Exchange Jewellers, always paying cash for jewellery, coins and precious metals. Adelaide Exchange Jewellers, where gold is sold.
When help is far from reach, when hope is lost in an instant, a familiar face finds you, experience reassures you, and innovation carries you. They're yours. They're Australia's Royal Flying Doctor Service.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, 10 gigs of scrolling through memory lane, 10 gigs of holiday escapes, or 10 gigs of catching up with the family. Plus, unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. We all spend family time differently. Together, we're different. Belong.
For making sense of a changing world. For understanding what's next. For the edge you need. The Australian, for the informed Australian.
Huh?
Did someone say KFC?
Newsflash! Attention pool builders, installers and purchasers. Stonecraft Imports have an exciting range of all new travertine, granite, bluestone and more for your coping and paving needs. Slip resistant, long lasting, on trend colours and finishes that never date. Stonecraft hand select, hand finish and custom cut. Even matching skimmer covers. Why use man-made imitations when all natural stone is similar in cost and lasts a lifetime? The Stone Age is back. Stonecraft Imports, now open 5 days. The all natural specialists.
At Image Robes, you can get built-in robes designed, made and installed, all on a budget to suit you. Image Robes are the manufacturers, so there's no middleman, with over 40 colours to choose from. Call or visit Image Robes for an in-home measure and quote today.
Welcome back to 7's Afternoon News. Now recapping our top stories. South Australians will be able to dine in from Friday with cafe and restaurant COVID restrictions relaxed, and pubs will be open in time for the June long weekend. Police have slammed as abhorrent a daylight attack on a nurse who was spat on as she walked to work along Hindley Street. And a Barossa Valley farming family has lost their home in a blaze caused by a lightning strike. Precious wedding photos and a treasured cutlery set were all that could be salvaged from the ruins. Now, it's one of the most contentious drugs on the planet at the moment. Donald Trump's taking it, and now Australian healthcare workers will too. A new clinical trial is determined to work out whether hydroxychloroquine can play a role in preventing COVID-19. Louisa Cheatley explains.
Good afternoon. It's a common drug to treat lupus, and now hydroxychloroquine is being tested in the fight against coronavirus. The COVID Shield trial will test the drug on 1,100 healthcare workers who are exposed to coronavirus patients. 1,100 other workers will be given a placebo. They'll take 2 tablets every day for 4 months to determine if workers taking the drug are less likely to contract the virus. The drug made headlines this week when US President Donald Trump announced he'd been taking it daily.
It seems to have an impact, and maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but if it doesn't, you're not going to get sick or die.
There have been doubts cast on its effectiveness and concerns raised about potential side effects, but researchers say it's been shown to prevent the SARS virus from spreading in test tubes, and healthcare workers are willing to take part.
We're well aware of some of the complications that it can cause, so we wouldn't give it to people who have got significant heart disease or heart rhythm abnormalities, abnormal heartbeats. The laboratory tests show that hydroxychloroquine works in a test tube. We really don't know whether it's going to work in people.
These people are volunteering for this position and they're completely consented.
If the trial is successful, the drug will only be given to frontline workers like police and aged care staff until a vaccine is found.
Let's check finance now with James Tower at CommSec. Good afternoon there, James. So did the local share market manage to overcome its sluggish start?
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Rosanna. We did see a pretty weak open for the Aussie market, as you mentioned, but it did close in positive territory. So at the end of the day, the ASX 200 up about 13 points, or just shy of a quarter of 1%, and now lifting for 4 consecutive sessions. We did start in negative territory, mostly due to the fact that Wall Street was in the red, and there were some concerns or some questions about some of the recent trial results to come through from a US drug company, Moderna, and a potential COVID-19 vaccine. But basically on our market today, the real turnaround was from the performance of the Big Four banks. The Big Four all in negative territory to start the day, but closing higher by between 0.5% and 0.7%. CBA was one of the best there. We also had the tech sector in particular, a real standout. Today, the buy now, pay later provider Afterpay lifting about 2%, and again getting close to its all-time highs. A bit of a weight on the market, however, was the performance of our resource sectors, so energy and mining in negative territory after a couple of days of some very strong gains on the back of lifting commodity prices, particularly in iron ore and also in oil. The Aussie dollar today, though, relatively unchanged and hovering around 65.5 US cents.
All right, thank you, James, I should say. A World War II veteran who's become a global hero after raising more than $60 million for Britain's healthcare system will be knighted. In the lead-up to his 100th birthday, Captain Tom Moore completed laps of his garden with the help of his walking frame. He now holds the world record for the most money raised by an individual through a walk. The British Prime Minister has called him a beacon of hope, and he sure is. He's done an extraordinary job, hasn't he, Nikki? And he's even released a song in the UK.
It's hit #1 on the charts over there. That's how popular he is.
Isn't it crazy? No, he's done very well, and it just shows that it doesn't matter what age you are, you can make a difference, can't you? Now, round 2, Showdown, might actually be played here.
Oh, we've come a long way, haven't we, in 2 days, from squabbling about what Queensland resort they're going to stay at, and now the AFL is seriously considering letting Port and the Crows play that showdown at Adelaide Oval, and we'll have more on that shortly. Also coming up, Port star Robbie Gray suffers a painful setback in his return to training, and the world's premier fast bowler excited by the prospect of a huge back half of the year.
Oh my God. So I guess it's pretty obvious that I can't see. Music is my vision.
A voice so beautiful, it'll touch the world.
What you couldn't see was the whole of the Palladium on their feet.
Just wait till you hear her sing.
It was just brilliant. Oh, my heart is just melting.
It's a night full of surprises.
That one was close.
New Britain's Got Talent. Tonight, 7:30.
We're excited to announce Waller's Holiday at Home sale with free delivery on our entire furniture range. Like the latest range from Lazy Boy or that stylish Nordic you've always wanted from $899. Ever dreamt of that perfect night's sleep in a power bed? And they're pretty good for watching Netflix too. All with free delivery. Plus thousands of items in stock locally with free delivery, meaning you can enjoy your holiday at home sooner. Waller's, here for you and now online.
Infused oil deluxe crisps from Red Rock Deli.
Which would you rather? Spend your life renewing insurance policies or stick a stake down your budgies and go swimming with sharks? Well, if you're choosing the sharks, you need a Hug. Hug brings your different insurance needs into one single policy. With just one premium and one renewal a year, Hug can save you 20% on comparable covers. It'll change the way you feel about insurance. Have a Hug. One policy, one premium, one big sigh of relief.
Shut up and take my money.
Oh, baby, baby, feed me. Baby, feed me. Oh, feed me.
Time powerless to resist.
Omtanke isn't just a word. It's a lens through which you can view the world and see things differently. It's a new perspective, a considerate, more caring one. Omtanke shines a brighter light on the things that really matter, and that helps us focus on making those things better, on making the world better. For everyone. Omtanke. We welcome you to try it. Volvo.
What is the world's southernmost capital city? A, Canberra. B, Santiago. C, Wellington.
New The Chase, weekdays at 5 on 7.
Hello again. Port Adelaide superstar Robbie Gray is expected to be fit for the restart of the AFL season next month, despite suffering a broken toe. And CEO Keith Thomas has praised the government's decision to relax physical contact rules. Theodoropoulos has more from Alberton.
Well, at first getting out on deck for a run at Alberton, it was a little win. Now it's going to continue for the next couple of weeks after SA government's decision to relax restrictions around physical contact training. The allowance for Port Adelaide and the Crows to start on Monday puts them in line with the rest of the country, meaning they'll be here in Adelaide for another 3 weeks. CEO Keith Thomas welcomed the decision.
It was a bit of a surprise that the exemption came. We were confident that the South Australian government understood what we were trying to achieve. They weren't in a position to fully satisfy themselves that all of the protocols were in place. So we simply went back to the Transition Committee and said, OK, well, let's understand that better.
Thomas has also backed calls by Premier Stephen Marshall to hold a round 2 showdown at Adelaide Oval.
Look, instinctively, I think that round 2 makes sense for us. I know that there's a counter-argument which suggests that if we wait a little longer towards the end of the year, there's a possibility that crowds will come in. I'm not thinking that far ahead.
One player who should be good to go is superstar Robbie Gray. That's despite breaking his toe after a training incident in the Power gym. So the Power players will continue to train here at Alberton in groups of 8 for the rest of the week before starting full contact training on Monday.
And that's certainly welcome news. Well, Collingwood's hopeful that star midfielder Adam Treloar will be available in time for round 2 after straining his calf this week. Meanwhile, North Melbourne's captain Jack Ziebell is back in full training as he recovers from a medial sprain he copped in the opening round.
He had an interrupted pre-season. He's had the chance to rehab his knee and been running for a good 4 or 5 weeks now, which is a little bit longer than he had going in round 1.
Rhys Shaw believes the AFL has made the right call in leaving the interchange at 4 players. Well, disinfecting the match ball may become part of cricket moving forward. Cricket Australia says it's looking into the possibility to minimise the risk of coronavirus.
Disinfecting the ball is a consideration. Don't know the impact on the ball. We haven't tested it. We'd obviously have to test it. We'd have to speak to the ICC and get permission. And in an exclusive interview with 7 News, Aussie speed machine Pat Cummins has spoken about the remarkable turnaround in team culture. He was thrilled with a recent phone call from national coach Justin Langer, confirming Australia was #1 in the world in Test and 2020 cricket.
Took me absolutely, totally, completely off guard because I didn't even know it was on the radar. So, yeah, it's another great acknowledgement for the team, how far we've come in the last couple of years.
Certainly is. Cummins has signed a $3 million contract with the Kolkata Knight Riders in the IPL, and we'll have more about exclusive chat with Cummins in 7 News at 6. 6 people from 3 different Premier League clubs have tested positive for COVID-19. 748 players and club staff were tested before clubs returned to training last night, but it's unclear how many players are among the 6 positive tests. Teams are training in small groups of no more than 5. The EPL's aiming for a return to action by the middle of next month. Olympian Steph Talbot believes she'll be an even better player because of the disruption to the coronavirus pandemic has caused to basketball. Talbot and the Adelaide Lightning will return to modified training in just over a couple of weeks' time.
Steph Talbot was due to make her WNBA debut for the New York Liberty this week. Instead, with indoor courts still out of bounds, a light outdoor workout in Adelaide has to suffice.
It's definitely been a challenge trying to keep yourself motivated, keep fit in different ways. It's been very interesting.
Coming off her best WNBA season with Minnesota, Talbot should also be just 10 weeks out from her 2nd Olympics in Tokyo.
It's Talbot with the 3, and she hits a career-high 5th 3 of the game.
It was so close, you know, you were coming up to the final preparations, and then now it's a whole nother year away, so I guess it's just back to training and getting ready for the WNBL season.
The next WNBL season is likely to be played without imported players due to coronavirus, and Talbot says that can be a positive.
In terms of Adelaide, we've always, the last couple of years, had post players as our imports, so, you know, we might have to change our style, play a bit of smaller ball.
Basketball Australia today announced new guidelines for WNBL, NBL and state leagues as a return to competition edges closer. And for players struggling financially, the Australian Basketball Players Association will provide support.
The establishment of the $150,000 ABA hardship fund has meant that we can support our players who are doing it tough during this time.
John Casey, 7 News.
So that's our sport, and I know we said Robbie Gray will be right for the start of the restart of the season, but how painful must that be, dropping a weight on your toe?
Oh, do we know how much it weighs?
Well, fair bit, I'd imagine.
Yeah, imagine. I dropped a fork on my toe last week and it hurts. I imagine a weight would be very painful, poor guy. Do stay with us. We'll check to see how the roads are looking this afternoon. Also coming up, extreme isolation. The first all-female team to spend winter alone in the Arctic. And more rain's on the way. Amelia will have the latest weather next.
Getting my house renovated is like a golden ticket to the rest of your life.
You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this. Oh.
In the transformation of the year.
This is the house of our dreams.
Oh my God.
It's all for Mum.
It's too much for one person to have.
It'll be the Hampton-style home of her dreams.
I love everything.
Mum's dream home will be revealed. House Rules, Sunday at 7.
Why don't you come? Why don't you come? The pleasure's all mine, I'll be getting home. If you're looking for me, I'll be dancing in my own way.
Harvey Norman has everything you need for your home. Come into our spacious stores and create an in-home cinema experience with the Whitehaven 3-seater fabric sofa, boasting powered reclining actions, a built-in e-station and storage console. Just $19.99. The Bradford offers sophisticated style with powered recliners, overhead reading and base lights and charging station. $21.99. Spruce up your dining with the Cobar 7-piece suite. Great value at just $9.99. Everything you need for your home in-store now at Harvey Norman.
One look at South Australia's CTP choices shows that SGIC wears the state colours on their sleeve. The wonders of data, eh? Choose SGIC, helping South Australians since 1972.
Unlike most modems, Telstra's smart modem is cleverly backed up by Australia's best 4G network. So if the connection to your house stops, your home Wi-Fi won't, giving you Australia's most reliable home Wi-Fi. To experience better Wi-Fi, visit telstra.com today.
There's no reason to leave home this winter. Now's the time to make your home comfortable and stay in with your partner. GasWorks have everything to make your home comfortable, with heating and hot water to suit any home or budget. GasWorks, the home of comfort.
Could you answer this question without using Google?
What is the world's southernmost capital city? A, Canberra. B, Santiago. C, Wellington.
Can you beat them to the answer?
I'll be going home with the money, money, money.
New The Chase, coming up next on 7.
This weather report proudly brought to you by Australian Red Cross.
Good afternoon, Bethany Hisker with your latest traffic thanks to Australian Pork. In Bedford Park, expect delays on South Road, A-Lifts Road to the Expressway for the Darlington upgrade heading southbound. Getting busy around your usual spots. South Road as you're heading through Mileston, Sir Donald Bradman Drive near the airport, and North Terrace in the city slowing as well. With so many deliciously easy recipes to try, you'll never get bored when there's pork on your fork. For inspiration, visit pork.com.au. That's the latest Adelaide traffic. Now back to you, Rosanna.
Thank you, Bethany. It's an extreme version of lockdown. 2 scientists have been left stranded during the coldest Arctic winter in 15 years after travel restrictions were imposed. They're now the first all-female team to spend winter alone in one of the most remote places on Earth.
When it comes to social distancing, it doesn't get more extreme than this. The Arctic, where 2 citizen scientists are stranded during the coronavirus pandemic.
This is tiny living at its best, 20 square metres of space that we've been in for over 8 months.
Sunniva Sorby and Hilda Fallenstrom have been living in this whaler's hut since last August, and it's rather basic.
We haven't had a shower in 8 months. That's because there's no running water.
Global travel restrictions mean they have missed their ride home, scheduled for this week. Now they have no idea when they'll be able to return, and it's a case of survival. They're having to ration food. Dressing to go outside is a 15-minute affair, and it comes complete with a rifle. They've already had several close encounters.
Oh my God.
With some very curious neighbours.
These have really thick nails on them, and it's designed to keep the polar bears from both climbing the roof and also getting in the window.
And while they admit times have been tough,
we had tears and we had disappointment, as I'm sure the rest of the world had during these days.
It's their work that keeps them going, braving the elements to collect environmental data and even work with NASA. They're having no trouble seeing the bright side of things.
We gave up what we thought was our normal life to come here. And as it turns out, this is more normal than the life back home.
And until nature decides otherwise, these hostile but beautiful surroundings will continue to be Hilda and Sunniva's home. Christian Garbset, 7 News.
Wow, breathtaking pictures, aren't they? Now, coming up on 7 News Flashback tonight, we're hitting the sand to remember the days of Adelaide's beach girl quests.
There are lots of finalists, and all of them with figures to make even an auditor happy. But judges narrow the field down to 13 as the grand final gets underway.
And Miss Beach Girl 1974, Jane Riley, will join us for a look back at a very different era. That's on Flashback in 7 News. At 6 o'clock. Now, ducklings born at a Japanese temple have gone on an adventure to their new home. The young flock was moved to a nearby river. Spurred on by locals, they had a little rest break before safely crossing a busy street. And the relocation is now an annual event. Well, let's get a check of the weather. And Amelia, round 2 of our wild weather's here.
Rosanna, it is. We've got a cold front moving through, and this one looks like it could bring a bit more rainfall than the front we saw last night. Already, Cape Willoughby on KI's had around 20 millimetres in 2 hours. So a wet night's ahead, and we could see more of that hail as well. But before those showers hit, well, it's been a cold day in Adelaide. Despite patches of sunshine earlier, our top in the city was 15.4 degrees at around 2:30, and right now it's 14. Elsewhere, and those showers are approaching the Great Ocean Road. Melbourne can expect them later tonight. Elsewhere, and a clear afternoon in Sydney, with rain expected there tomorrow with a cold front. Now, that's the front that's pushing up over our coast at the moment. It'll clear through the rest of the Gulf tonight, leaving plenty of icy air in its wake. A high pressure system will keep the onshore winds coming tomorrow. So we can expect a cool but sunny day in parts of our far north. 19's the forecast top for Murray and for Moomba, 18 for Cooper Pedy, just 16 for Woomera, and for Port Augusta, Whyalla and Kadina as well. 17's the forecast top for Port Lincoln and Ceduna, just 12 in Clare, 13 in Uriutpa. Those clear skies will lead to early frost about parts of northern Eyre Peninsula, the Flinders and mid-north, but showers are still a chance about central and eastern districts, which could see hail as well. It'll all contract to the coast during the day. Just 15 for Victor Harbour, 16 for Murray Bridge, 13's the forecast top for Mount Gambier. Tonight, a warning's been reissued for sheep graziers in these districts, with more cold, wet and windy conditions ahead. In the city, and these showers are set to ease back later tonight. They're just a slight chance of an early sprinkle in the morning, but otherwise a few clouds about tomorrow. After a low of 8 degrees, a cool 15's the forecast top. Now, we are expecting more showers to end the working week, but gee, Rosanna, I'm looking forward to a break tomorrow.
It's nice to mix it up, isn't it? Thank you, Amelia, and that's all from the afternoon news team. Jane will have our next bulletin at 6 o'clock. From me, it's bye for now.
David, I'm assigning you to the Home Secretary. To move up.
Very good, Mum.
On, police! Get down! Stay down!
Mum, this is P.S. Spud, the new PPO.
Pleasure to meet you, Mum.
I'm late for a meeting.
On, police!
She's got an agenda to heighten fear and to seize power.
We must do all in our power to protect our way of life.
Did you mean what you said?
I don't need you to vote for me. Only to protect me.
Rest assured, Mum. I'll do what's required.
It's okay. It's okay. These plots do not always arise from outside. Some fester within.
I've been a copper. I've been a soldier.
All for what? Politicians, cowards and liars.
What is she up to? You need to find out. She's got you wrapped around her finger. This is a very dangerous politician. This never happened. There's been an inside man all along.
Looks like the Home Secretary couldn't be in safer hands.
The must-see event, Bodyguard, on 7. The worldwide smash hit starts tonight.
These 4 strangers must work as a team to win thousands of dollars, but standing in their way is one of the sharpest minds in Australia, the Chaser.